JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 17th of June 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and yep, yesterday we declined, or should I say, yet today we declined, but yesterday the U.S. equities and then the European cash indices did fall, and it kind of the rest of the indices followed suit. Yesterday we got the FOMC statement, so where basically the Fed sounded a little bit more hawkish, and it kind of signaled that it may raise interest rates at a faster pace than assumed initially. The new dot plot did state that there are more people now, or more policymakers, there we go, that's the word, more policymakers were leaning a little bit more towards the an increase in 2023. So yep, let's see how that's gonna continue ongoing. I mean, but of course the initial reaction is that equities did drop. I mean, people were moving out of riskier assets like equities and into something a little bit more safer, like bonds. Bonds did the yields did grow a little bit, so yep, I mean that kind of fueled that little sell-off. So let's see how this is going to play out. I mean, for now, I would say that looking at this picture on Nikkei, I mean, you can see that it dropped back to this 21-day EMA. We were close to overcoming this 29,519 territory, but as you can see, so far it's doing its job again. So in order to aim for the upside, I'll stick to this level and I'll wait for a pop above this area in order to go for some higher levels. But given that we are now closer to this little hurdle, the 28,710.11 territory, approximately around here, now we'll keep an eye on it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm bearish here, but all the options are on the table. So for now, basically, I'm just going to wait for a clear breakthrough one of these levels. Now, Hong Kong's Hung-Seng index, it initially traveled lower. It is trying to get back into positive territory. It still has around 15 minutes left of trading, so let's see if the bulls are able to push this one back into positive territory. But again, yesterday I talked about this one and I said that in a way, if we drop below this hurdle, the 28,615 territory, somewhere around here, then the next target here could be the level right right here, the 28,326, something like this, or the 28,195, marked by the low of the 24th of May. And as you can see, we managed to reach that. We also managed to kind of get closer to this downside line, taken from the high of the 18th of February. So, yep, it basically did act as a nice area of support, this area near this downside line. So let's see how it's going to go further. But also what I was saying to you, that if we drop through this hurdle right here, the 28,615, then this may, yes, open the door towards further levels, or maybe even it could go be below this downside line and test the lower side of the rising channel, because don't forget that we are in a rising channel still. It's a short-term one, but nevertheless a rising channel. So then basically we could ignore this whole downside line, and then, yeah, we could take it from there. But at the moment, at this point in time, it seems to be a little bit still positive, I would say, overall, because we are within the rising channel. Yep, let's see if the lower side here eventually gets tested. But for that, we would need to see a drop below this downside line. I can see chat room here. Good morning to you, Eva and Erica. Yep, so yep, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful trading day, well, start of the trading day. So yep, I hope you're all prepared for today. So let's see if we can squeeze something out of this market today. So jumping into DAX here, and yep, we saw a bit of a decline. So of course that's understandable. If we take a look at the cash index right now, we'll see that the price is trading at around 15,648, or in a way, let's round it up here to 15,650. So that's basically below yesterday's close. It's closer. We're closer to this hurdle right now, this 15,638 zone. So yeah, let's see if we can actually break this one, because if we can, well, I mean, then we could maybe finally confirm this rising wedge pattern, and then it could break to the downside, and we could aim for some lower levels. But again, I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again, that as long as this line, the lower side of the rising wedge, stays intact, or we don't see, let's say, a close below it, then the trend is still to the upside, because again, what could happen here is we could see a drop lower, a break of this upside line, this lower side of the rising wedge. It could drift a little bit to the downside here, but then by the end of the day, it could come back and stay inside the wedge and continue pushing higher. So we've seen something like this happening before, so let's be very careful here. And yeah, for now, we're examining this lower side of the rising wedge together with the 15,638 zone. If that gets clear, then we see the daily candle staying below it, closing below it, then yes, further slightly lower levels could be met. I'm not going to say further declines, but slightly lower levels. Initially, we could aim for that 15,477, or then we could target the low of the 27th of May near the 15,350 zone. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. Now the dollar index. So the culprit of all madness, well, one of the culprits. So of course the US dollar yesterday accelerated. I mean, it took the news positively, and yep, basically I told you yesterday to keep an eye on this barrier here. And yeah, we got this 90.63, and look at this beautiful move. So not only did we manage to reach this this area right here around this 90.90 zone together with the 100-day EMA, but we managed to overcome it, and we've reached my other target. And look at this perfect hit here near the 91.42 territory. I spoke about this level previously. This is the high of the 22nd of April. We even, I think, let me just climb here a little bit, this 91.43 territory. Yeah, we came close to that one as well. But either way, guys, I mean, what's happening here right now is we are seeing a further move north. So let's see if we can actually stay above this hurdle, above this 91.42 territory. If we can, then of course, yes, my next target is the 91.81 zone right here, marked by the high of the 16th of April. And yep, we could see a test of that 200-day EMA, and then of course we'll take it from there, guys. So long story short, for now I'm bullish. Especially if the price stays above the 91.42 territory. So basically that's a very good achievement right here. So let's see if we can actually reach now this 200-day EMA. But of course we'll not forget about some of these downside lines. I mean, some of them are tentative, so a little bit. Yep. We could start drawing one here, and let me just for the sake of it, let me see if actually we get something out of this. I mean, okay. So this is where it's very interesting. So yep, we have now broken the this medium-term downside, or actually it's more of a long-term one now. So long-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 23rd of March of 2020. So as you can see, yep, there is a bit of positivity. Of course, we'll keep an eye on today's trading, because if by any chance this somehow reverses back down and falls and stays below this downside line and below this 91.42 territory, now this is, yes, where maybe a bit of a corrective move lower could be possible. But of course, it's going to be an exciting day today. Let's see how that's going to play out. Now, jumping into gold, and of course, gold felt the pressure, the selling pressure yesterday, and basically we've managed to drop below that. If you remember yesterday, I said to you that keep your eyes on this 1856 territory. If we clear that, then the next target, as Evu mentioned, the 1845 level. So yep, good call on that one, Evu. Yep, we managed to overcome that, and we then tested this downside line. The one that I spoke about previously as well. This one's taken from the high of the 7th of August, and yep, we managed to clear that downside line. So basically, this is how strong it was, how strong the decline was, and yep, we saw this one drifting further south, and yep, eventually finding support near the 200-day EMA, yep. This is going to be quite interesting to see how it performs further. But at the moment, I would say, yes, I'm going to keep an eye on this 200-day EMA. I'm not going to look at any specific level at the moment, but just going to go from some of these lines. So, for example, what could happen right now is we might see a bit of a retracement, maybe, depending, of course, also on DXY. And if we do see a bit of a retracement, then, well, I mean, keep your eyes on this downside line. If it provides resistance once again, then another slide could be possible, guys. So let's see how that's going to play out. Now, jumping into WTI oil, also drifted a little bit to the downside. However, not significantly, because basically the oil market is just strong right now. So, however, this 72.6870 territory, I spoke about this level from the beginning of this week, guys, and yep, just let me remind you again. This level, so this is the high of the high of the 15th of October 2018. So we managed to hit that area, found resistance, and yep, stayed below it, and we drifted back down. So now the big question here is what's going to happen further. So if you want to aim for the upside, well, I would say that probably wait for another push above that 72.70 territory, just a little in order to be a little bit more careful with that upside, just because we had already quite a decent up move here. For the downside in the near term, well, let me just draw something here very quickly. So we may see this upside line as an interesting one, or actually, let me just double check. No, it's going to be a tentative one, of course, but we could keep an eye on it for now. And yeah, I mean, also keep your eyes on that 70.54 territory. I spoke about this level previously. However, let me just double check one thing. Let me just go back. I mean, okay, probably because it got violated. So I mean, it did act as a resistance initially, then support. So okay, so you know what? Let's keep an eye on it. But probably here I will focus a little bit more on this upside line. If this upside line gets broken, then we see a drop. Then we could see a further drop lower here. Of course, initially, then we'll target that. If we'll aim for that 21-day EMA, which in a way could provide support, but if that gets cleared, yes, a larger correction to the downside here could be possible. So keep that in mind. Now, jumping into a few cryptos, Bitcoin very quickly. So yeah, drifted also to the downside. Stronger dollar didn't really help here this crypto, and yep, we saw a bit of a decline. However, on the positive note is that we are still trading above the 21-day EMA and above this upside line taken from the low of the 8th of June. So basically, the bulls still have a chance to jump in here, but probably I would say for me, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels, I would like to see a push above the current highest point of this week near the 41,322, and then yes, I could aim for some higher levels. But at the moment, yep, it's going to be a little bit of a tricky one here. For the downside as well, we cannot really get comfortable with the downside until we see at least a move back below both of these trend lines, little short-term trend lines, and also just for that extra confirmation, a drop below this 34,635 territory might be possible. Or should I say not might be possible, but might open the door towards some lower levels if we get a drop below this hurdle. Ripple, so very quickly on Ripple, still stuck in that little triangle pattern. Let me just actually highlight that lower side here. So yeah, not very exciting here for now, I would say, but I mean, it's a descending triangle. Of course, these patterns tend to break to the downside. However, we have seen that happening sometimes the opposite way, so that's why probably wait for a violation of one of the sides here of this triangle, and then we will consider the next short-term directional move. AUD/JPY, of course, being the risk pair, we finally managed to get that breakout, the one that I kept talking about throughout this whole week and last week, and yeah, we drifted lower. We fell below this 84.39 zone, but as you can see, we didn't really quite reach this 83.93 territory. I spoke about this level, and this was my target, kind of the preferred target to consider lower areas. After a break of which we could consider lower areas, but as you can see, we didn't get that, and now the big question here is, can we see a further move lower here? Because today we're seeing a nice rebound, so it seems that maybe the selling kind of was not that strong. I mean, it was strong at that point yesterday, but let's see if the bulls can actually pick up on this one and drive this one back to the upside. However, if you want to aim for some higher levels, probably, well, first of all, let's get rid of this upside line, no longer needed, but we'll keep an eye on this downside one instead. So if we clear, if we have a clear push back above this downside line, then this is where I will start looking at some upside. But at the moment, I'm also keeping an eye, of course, on this 83.93 zone. Of course, I'll pick up on a few dollar pairs here, obviously, well, for obvious reasons, actually. So, so yeah, we jumped nicely here. We cleared this barrier. I talked about this in the beginning of this week, this 0.9030. I said that if we clear that level, then we could start aiming higher, where my next target will be this 0.9094. Of course, on the way higher, we will test the 0.9052. And yep, look at this. I mean, we had a perfect test, so great result here. Now the big question here is, can we see a further move higher? Well, I would say like this, that as long as it stays, or as long as it is able to push above this 0.9094 territory and stays above it, then yep, my next target is the 200-day EMA, or maybe, depending on how this is going to trade, the 0.9165 territory right here. However, I'm not going to rush into aiming for that one yet. I'm just going to aim for that 200-day EMA for now. Only if we climb nicely here above this 0.9094 zone. If we stay below it, then I'll be very careful and probably take a neutral stand. For me, basically because maybe then we could see a bit of a corrective move lower here. Something like this could... pardon me here. There we go. So maybe we could see something like this happening here, and yeah, then we'll take it from there. But for the downside now, I would like to see at least a drop back below, somewhere below this 0.9030 territory in order to consider maybe a move lower. USD/JPY, so yeah, pushed nicely to the upside. We've cleared this barrier, and I talked about this one. I said to keep an eye on this 110.33 territory. That's the previous highest point of June, and as you can see, we cleared that. We confirmed the forthcoming higher high, and yeah, my next target is the 110.97. So that's the highest point of March. Let's see how that's going to play out. But yeah, for now, all eyes are going to be on this hurdle, on this pair, of course, and yeah, let's see if we can continue pushing further north. For the downside, pretty straightforward. The break of this medium-term upside support line taken from the low, the 6th of January, would be needed. USD Cad, also very nice performance, managed to rebound. Well, basically this one worked out perfectly and according to the plan. So I said to you previously that we might see a bit of a drift lower, test of this hurdle, the 1.2133. If this provides good support, a nice rebound here could be possible back to this 1.2266 territory. And yep, we've reached that. We even managed to overcome it, and we stayed slightly above it. So we're currently trading above it, which kind of puts a bit of a positive spin in the near-term outlook, and yeah, let's see if we can reach that 1.2352 zone marked by the high of the 4th of May. Or maybe if the buying power is strong, then maybe we could reach this 100-day EMA. So these are going to be my two targets for now. Of course, we need to be careful as well with this downside resistance line. So yep, this comes basically perfectly in line with the idea of aiming for that 1.2352 territory. So we have this downside line right here, and yep, the big question here is, can we push further above it? Now this is where it's going to be very, very interesting. Like I said, I'm going to only aim for now for this area, for the 1.2352, maybe for this 100-day EMA. As I said, maybe it's going to be, we'll see a nice overshoot here. But again, at the moment, it's going to be, we are at a very interesting spot here on USD CAD. So let's see if all this is going to work out. GBP USD drifted lower. Yes, broke below this upside line taken from the low of the 12th of April, and yep, we've drifted towards that 1.40 territory right here. We dropped below it, and we stayed below it, and today we're currently still trading below that psychological 140 zone. Can we drift lower? Well, I would say yes, if we will stay below that 140 territory. If we can stay below it, then my next target will be this 1.38 zone. Well, actually, no. My next target will be the 100-day EMA. I want to see how it's going to perform here, because will it act as a nice area of support as it did here back in the mid-April, or will it get broken? If it will get broken, then my next target, like I said, is 1.38 zone. Another thing also to keep in mind, maybe, also another upside trend line. So yeah, so this is where it's going to be. Yeah, this is exactly where the 100-day EMA comes in. So this is, yep, like I said, if we find support here, then we'll of course reevaluate everything again. But if that gets broken, then like I said, yes, my next target is the 1.38 zone. So everything kind of comes in line perfectly. Euro GBP. Still stuck, still annoying. I mean, we're still watching this one, and basically still we're still kind of forming this potential descending triangle. Of course, you understand that these patterns tend to break to the downside according to all the TA rules. However, it's the Euro GBP we're talking about, and maybe it will reverse and push higher. However, with the downside, even if it drops and stays below this 0.8560 territory right here, yes, I'm going to aim for some lower levels, but I'm not going to really drastically target the downside. Initially, I'll aim for this 0.8533 territory right here, but my main target, of course, will be the 0.8472, marked by the lowest point of April. Euro USD. Beautiful decline, beautiful test of the lower side of the falling channel. It worked out perfectly, the only little exception that it actually continued to slide. But again, if you were on the right side here, I mean, what I was saying yesterday, that in a way this could be seen as a potential bearish flag, for that, if we would drop below this hurdle, the 1.2093, then this would confirm a forthcoming lower low. We could see further declines, and we would aim for that 100-day EMA together with the lower side of the falling channel, together with the 1.2051 zone. And as you can see, we've managed to reach that. But of course, if you didn't close the position, I mean, you've managed to reach my other target, the 1.1990, which I kind of totally forgot about, but I still kept it here, and well, basically you can see why. I mean, it's perfect area of support, and we've cleared that psychological 120 zone, and we've drifted further south. Now the big question here is, if we continue to stay below the 1.20 zone, will we go lower? Well, the little short answer here, it could be yes, because at the moment, if the dollar index continues to strengthen, then yes, we could see this one pushing below that 1.1990 territory, and then my next target is the 1.1942, 43 territory, approximately around here near this 200-day EMA. And then we'll take it from there, guys. This is a very interesting target here. Again, also don't forget that maybe, for example, today it could trade around here near this 1.1990 level. It could stay flat for the day, and then maybe tomorrow it could show some maybe further declines. If, for example, somehow the 1.1990 territory continues to provide support, then yes, we might see a bit of a rebound here, but be very careful near the lower side of the falling channel. I'm not getting rid of that falling channel yet, because I want to see if the lower side of it will act as a nice area of resistance, because if we get a nice rebound here, retracement, then all eyes are going to be on this little area near this lower side of the falling channel. If it holds, another slide could be possible, and this is where we could aim for that 1.1943 territory. But if it decides not to travel a little bit higher here, for example, if it fails to push, let's say, if the scenario here, if the daily candle today stays like this and it just remains flat for the day, but if tomorrow, for example, if the pair struggles to bypass yesterday's today's high, then yes, a straightforward drop again here could be possible. So keep that in mind. For the upside, what I would need to see here is at least a move back inside this rising channel, and a push above this 1.2051 territory may bring the bulls back to the table. However, we would still remain a bit on the cautious side. So that's it for this session, guys. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys. I'll have to wrap it up here. Join me later on at my traders' tea time, as always. That's 12:30 GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.